love is not a dimensioned constant, as they say. In other words, I think the love you carry in, I think we're pretty well wired for love, or we wouldn't have gotten this far. I mean, it's been hell for the last 5 million years. There's been a lot of upheaval, a lot of burying of miscarriages and small infants near the caved front and that sort of thing. Love springs from biology, and we are fully biologically empowered beings. The love that springs from understanding is the intimacy that comes from penetration of another point of view. I mean, the vocabulary is necessarily sexual, but I think of love as a solvent. It really penetrates any situation. It just washes through and touches all levels of a situation. It may be the unique complement that we bring to this mix. Our machines may think faster, image better, so forth and so on. But love seems to actually be the thumbprint of divinity upon our biology, because it doesn't seem necessary. Even sexuality is not particularly necessary in its intensely emotionally realized form. I mean, there are fish where the female lays the eggs and an hour later the male swims over them and ejaculates. Well, what kind of community is based on this kind of intimacy? It may not even enter these fish's minds that there is a relationship. I mean, in other words, the female lays eggs, the male ejaculates, that no member of that species may have ever put together the fact that these things somehow have a causal relationship. Yeah.
Quick question about the unconscious. And now that we can no longer afford it, and I can see why with the reference to atom bombs. What do you think it was for originally?
I think that we are going to need a lot of energy. I think that we are going to need to be able to undertake very dramatic engineering works. The other thing is, you can look at it this way, as that knowledge is power. And, when you're talking about nuclear chemistry, knowledge really is power. So it's, in a way, a test. You uncover these hideous sources of power, and it injects a new immediacy into the moral dimension of your existence. I find it extraordinary that atom bombs were used only in one case, the Hiroshima-Nagasaki case, against human beings, by human beings. You got your Rwanda and Bosnia and even Auschwitz, but nevertheless, crazy as we may be, nobody ever got that pissed off. And, we've had them now for 50 years, these devices, able to be delivered within 30 minutes anywhere on the planet. And there have been some mighty dicey hassles come and go in that 50 years, but nobody ever went for broke, And I think it means that, there is a measure of sanity at some level. I mean, it's too bad that you have to have the fate of the planet in the balance for people to exercise a little statesmanship, but that seemed to be the case.